This week I made the shapes of cane more three-dimensional, and I tied string around in sort of a cross and square formation to try and secure them from as many angles as possible so they would stay in the right position. I doubled up on the base shape so that it would be more sturdy, because all of the singular pieces of ribs, as it were, would be joining on that one shape, so it needed to be strong as possible. I trimmed the edge of the ribs, not all the way because I still needed to glue the string on and needed something for it to stick to. I did use a piece in the centre, again doubled up because all the pieces would be touching it, and I made sure that they were on the dots that I drew so that all the rib cages were the same distance apart from the top and from the bottom. When I got to the end, I clamped the back together because I noticed that all the shapes had relaxed, so it was quite a wide frame, which wasn't what I wanted, so I just wrapped some string around temporarily. I weaved some wet cane through so that I could work out how long I would need the pieces of cane to be when weaving, so how many pieces of weaving cane I'd get out of each strip of cane that arrived, because I did need to order some more in the end and I wanted to know how best to make the most of the cane that I had. After I'd glued the string joints around the bottom, I trimmed the excess bits of cane, trimmed the string, and filed them down so that it made it as flat as possible and as safe as possible. I don't think my temporary string method to tie the back together worked too well, so I did use the clamps, and I tried the head on so that I could fit the jaw inside and see whether or not I liked the shape and the size of it, because the head was already pretty much done and the jaw could be changed if it needed to be. This is the same way that I glued all the bits of string around the bottom as well, just all over, so I could get maximum coverage so that they would stick as best possible. I did make sure that every piece lined up with the dots that I'd drawn. As a more permanent fixture for the back, I wound string around the bits of cane so that it stayed in the right shape. I decided that drawing the pieces of flat cane straight would give more tension when I was weaving the frame. When I weaved the flat cane through the whole frame, I left some excess at either end so that they could be soaked and folded round so they were more secure. I made sure that I spread out each of the pieces of cane. I used a junior hacksaw to get rid of all of the excess cane, the ones that I would reuse for weaving, also the bits that were left over for the trunk. I found that it gave a rather rough edge and noticed later that using tin snips made it a bit of a cleaner cut. This is how I measured the cane with a tape measure so that I could work out how many bits of weaving cane and bits of the trunk were going to be in each piece to make the most out of the cane that I had so that there was less wastage. I spent a while working out all the diameters and the lengths of all the pieces of cane and labelling them up with different numbers. This system made things a lot easier for me to know where things were going, and again to make the most out of the cane that I had. I knew that I was going to have to double up on these strips of cane with the rings because it was quite flexible when I got it. And I knew that doubling up and sandwiching them together with some wood PVA glue would make them quite strong, which is what I need for it to work best. I would set and shape the outer piece and then glue the outer side of the inner piece, which I would then clamp in as many places as possible together.